work with all of you to be able to find your center and access that tree of life within yourself, so that you can put your roots deeper into the earth and feel your expansion and connect stronger into your heart, and then open into a telepathic field, because we're moving into this new time, this age of Aquarius, and being activated. And actually it looks like we're being all like, sit down, stay in, come in, so that we can remember, awaken to these magnificent tools that we've got within ourselves, inside of our body. So I would love with all my heart to be able to show you the simplicity of coming into that alignment within yourself, so that you can feel those activations and that we can telepathically unify as a group, if anyone's up for it. But before we do go there, I would, it would be beautiful to open with the 7 directions. But even before that, I'd like to open this up for 3 people to be able to share something, share where you're at. And it would be quite like, actually, George, you definitely spring to mind. I'd love to hear where you're at the moment. Let me just see. I would also like to see where you're at, MJ, because I haven't seen you for a while. It'd be really nice to see what some of this journey's been. And then Ben, if you could choose one other person, please, that would be amazing. So let's start with you, George. If you just kindly unmute yourself, just to give us like a minute and a half, let us know where you are in yourself at this time.
Well, hi guys, I'm George, and hi Rita. Lovely to see everyone here. Where am I at the moment? This whole pandemic has brought me to Hereford, which is I'm with a friend staying here doing my end of my university stuff. And I'm quite a busy person normally, and it's been a really interesting time because it's isolation has been a chance to face things that are happening within me, the processes that are happening within me here and now when they're happening. And I find I've been very turbulent through the whole experience because of it. I've been up and down, and my emotions all over the place. Some day I'll be having the best day of my life, and some days I'll be stressed and anxious and worried and missing home. And it's a real facing of everything that's within me, and real coming to understanding, because I'm doing the same thing every day, noticing the difference in the ebbs and flows in my own state of being, because it's not externally changing, it's all what's happening within. I'm doing the same thing every day, but I feel different. So it's been an interesting experience, just kind of uncovering that. But overall, I feel really positive about about the way things are going. I think, you know, the words you've just spoken, Rita, kind of speak true of how I feel. I feel a shift happening.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think this is kind of brewing, and the stuff I'm seeing it reflects that, I guess.
Excellent. That's really brilliant. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. MJ? There you go. Just need to unmute. Yeah, that's it. You're unmuted. Yeah.
Hey Rita, so good to see you. Hello everyone. Thank you for sharing, George. Thank you for setting this up. I'm just really, I'm feeling really grateful for the opportunity just to be able to have a lot of time just doing things that I love to do. I was just in India under the lockdown, and obviously there's not so much that you can do out there, so I was just in my room, and I'm a musician, so I was just practicing a lot of instruments, and yeah, just having a lot of time to reflect on life and different things I want to bring into my life. And now I've come back here. and I'm at home, and there's different processes that are going on within my family, and but personally, so I'm here sort of holding and being here at home, but just really enjoying the silence, enjoying the time to deepen in my creativity and things like that. And yeah, I'm really feeling that it's obviously a powerful time on the earth at the moment. And yeah, it's very interesting to see how it's going to unfold and how things are going to be afterwards. And it's yeah. Well, thank you for setting this up, Rita, and sharing some wisdom and bringing us all together.
Well, I can't take credit for it because it's Ben who put us together, but I really appreciate you being here, and it's so lovely to be with you too. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Bless you. Ben, have you chosen a third person?
Well, you know, my way is more to ask for a volunteer.
Okay. Who would like to give the third sharing? Oh, Luca's here as well. Hey, Luca, I can't see your face, but I noticed you're here. How nice. That's so lovely. Anybody else? I could say something.
Me, I guess.
Who's that?
Me, Rita.
Rita. Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome, Rita.
Okay. I don't really know what to say. Yeah. But it's interesting because I'm feeling so like I'm Pisces, and the Aquarius is also water. And it just all feels like the time and experience. It's all water too. And yeah, I don't know what to say, but it's really cool. I guess.
Where are you from?
From Poland.
Okay. Thank you. Are you in Poland now?
No, I'm in UK, in England, in London.
Okay. Okay. Where are you locked down? Like, where are you? Like with friends or on your own? Where are you?
Or in my place, that's a squad. Okay. And yeah, many interesting things going on around. It's fun to look.
Must be
from one perspective. Go on.
Must take a lot of courage.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you for being.
It's quite comfortable. Like everything is so different. Everything, including having a look at the city when it's completely free. It's different. Like, how to say? Much more freedom, much less freedom. Kind of, no. Just much more freedom.
Well, thank you for being here, love. Thank you. Okay, Ben. So yeah, would you like me to open with the 7 directions? Or were you going to play a song?
The song is, I do have a song to share at some point, but I'd love if you, let's see if there's a time. I've got the song up my sleeve.
Excellent. Okay, so I will just start with a prayer because it helps to really focus us. If anybody's lying down, I really recommend sitting up or having your spine straight. Let's use this moment to centralize ourselves, to really anchor our roots into the earth. Let's take this moment to feel that energy within our being. Yeah, let's start actually with just taking A deep breath in through the nose and holding that breath for a few moments, and then releasing all tension out through the mouth. Let's just start with that. As we collectively synchronize ourselves through our breath. And one more deep breath. Breathe deep as you can into your abdomen. A whole great spirit, Father Sky, Father Sun, a whole great mystery. Once again, gathered in circle on the inner planes in this way. Thank you for this opportunity. Calling to our guides and protectors, grandmothers, grandfathers from the East House of Light. Please fill us with illumination that we may know all things in clarity, a whole. And calling to the grandmothers, grandfathers, gatekeepers of the North House of Night, asking you to help us to ripen the wisdom so that we may know all from within, a whole. And calling to the West House of Transformation, grandmothers, grandfathers, gatekeepers, please help us to walk a path of right action so that we may do what must be done, a whole. And calling to the grandmothers, grandfathers, gatekeepers of the South House of the Eternal Sun, help us to reap the harvest of planetary beingness, a whole. And calling to the above house of heaven, where our ancestors and the star nation are gathered, calling to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas from the realms of Shambhala, calling to the great rishis that guard this universe, calling to our beloved Yeshua the Christ and your court of angels and holy archangels, and calling to you, holy archangel Shekinah, to guide our mother in her birthing hour, and bowing to you, Pachamama, beautiful goddess Gaia, Madre Tierra, Mother Earth, bowing to the heartbeat of your crystal core and praying with all of our hearts that you imbue us with the harmonies to end the war within and without. And family, asking you to put your hands on your heart chakra right now. As we access the center of the galactic source, which is everywhere at once. May everything be known as the light of mutual love. Oyam Hunabku Eva Maya Imaho. So, thank you once again for being here. What I wanted to begin with is to just really speak to where this energy of fear in our solar plex has, whether it's conscious or subconscious, like to be in a moment where we absolutely have no idea of what next week's going to bring is so humbling. To really like recognize that all the constructs that we've attempted to build to empower ourselves is just like carpet ripped. And I feel for you guys who are younger than us, because it must be terrifying. I have 4 children. My oldest is 36, my youngest is 18, she just turned 18. And when I returned back from Africa on the day that the lockdown happened, 3 or 4 days later, in 3 o'clock in the morning, she came into my room just crying and asking to take her temperature, and was convinced that she had got this coronavirus, and asked me to call 111. And she actually vomited through the fear. And by the, like, I settled her, helped her to get to that point. And it was also a whole thing, as you can imagine, like, what do you do if somebody in your family's got coronavirus? You're being asked to not even be close to them. And it was the first moment. So we were just working to navigate that. And anyway, she settled. And in the morning when she woke up, she realized it was just literally fear that had made her sick. And I also went through a moment where when I got back, like, my lungs were feeling really weak and tight, and it just was like, whoa, have I got it as well? Like, would I manage this? And then all of my practices as a practicing Buddhist was just like, I always felt like I'm really prepared to leave my body on the day that day comes, that I'm comfortable with that. That is what my work is to prepare for that moment. And I have a very strong understanding in my body that, in fact, you know, laying this garment down, this temple that we've been given to work through down, in reality, we are eternal beings. But then came the question, like, am I ready to lay this body down? If I die in this next week, which at the beginning of the coronavirus, we were like, you know, early March or this was about the 23rd of March. I was just like, wow, that would be quite a shock, because I had my whole year planned out with full retreats and all these, you know, amazing places to go and offerings from my heart, and to leave my grandchildren, my children, like, am I ready? And that brought me to a very humbled moment where I realized, like, I'm actually in a conversation with our creator. Like, I really would like to be here in service. I really feel this is such an auspicious time. Like, please don't take me right now. I really would like to be here in my service. But in that moment, that was like, it was only about an hour in the middle of the night. I don't know if you can remember when we first got locked down, a lot of people went into panics in the nighttime. And it's probably, you know, lots of people slipping away out of their bodies. It was really strong to actually feel that, like, wow, there's no certainty of anything right now. That's what I was feeling in that moment. And it's not like I'm a stranger to people dying. You know, my partner left his body through a road traffic accident when our daughter was 5 months old. It was a strong moment to be at his hospital bed. You know, he had gone through the windscreen and landed 30 foot later on his head and was in a coma when I got to him. And it was a magnificent, beautiful process, because I got to really understand how in reality death is not real. I got to journey with him as he was crossing some of the way, and really understanding, whilst I'm in this body, our eternal nature, which I've been studying, which I want to share with you about. You know, it's the basic principles of solar philosophy and esoteric psychology, is to understand that, in fact, we're not just a physical body. We have a light body that contains the blueprint of all that we've ever been, all that we ever will be. Like, then we have our etheric field that contains all of the imprints of our conditioning that limit our mind, like that narrow us, and what we're working out as our karma. What I mean by that is like what you went through as a child in your school playground, how it was with your friends, if they were humiliating you, if you never felt adequate or enough or beautiful or talented, and you were in that comparison, all of those imprints are stuck in our etheric field. So we've got our light body, our etheric field, our physical body. Then we've got our emotional body. That's so many of humanity are stuck going round and round on this emotional treadmill, lifetime after lifetime, in that feeling like a candle blown in the wind, always in a reaction to what's coming, in that place, held in that place of separation and blame. And that's a big part of this work with this virus at this moment, how to discern, how to discriminate, and how to liberate ourselves off this wheel of samsara, this wheel of illusion, this emotional treadmill. How do we access the real from the unreal? So we have our emotional body, and then we have the mental body, which isn't the left brain that's trying to work things out. The mental body is what receives the telepathic impression from our soul's light. But the mental body is like, you could call it the Buddhaic mind, the right brain spatial awareness that receives the impression. But what is the soul? That's the question. Like, that's a very bandied about word that most people don't have a really deep understanding. What is our soul? Because our soul and our spirit are different. The spirit is the highest aspect of ourselves, the eternal, indestructible aspect of ourselves. A cosmic fire aspect of our individualization of the one, where we are residing in the eternal now as an aspect of deity. And the soul is all the merit that you've accumulated from every lifetime, from every good deed, word, and action and offering, your mantras, your prayers, your selfless service, accumulates in this electric fire plane of existence called the causal ocean. So we're designed so specifically and so magnificently that every single lifetime that we have, we get to build the bridge within ourselves to get to the point where our soul begins to fuse with our personality. The personality being, like, you would probably call it like the ego expression that wants to be noticed or needs its expression. It's not like it's a wrong thing, but when we're soul infused, then our personality becomes the tool for our highest level of expression. So this soul, every lifetime is an opportunity to grow the light of the soul and to become translucent and soft enough to call and invoke the light of our soul to be expressed. And when we look at this situation of the pandemic, how it's looked at from an esoteric level in this language that I'm speaking, this one way of looking at totality, is just a language, but it's a language that keeps your vibration very high and helps you to be like an eagle, seeing it from a much greater perspective, that you don't get lost and stuck and be the victim to a dark force that's pulling you and separating you. that this languaging is, this way of looking, this thing called solar philosophy, helps us to understand that there really is a divine plan, that we are built as magnificent beings, and that the highest aspect of ourselves is indestructible. But the big question is, can we build the bridge to that highest aspect whilst we're here in what in the Vedas they call one night's dreaming in our soul's evolution, this whole life, one night's dreaming in our soul's evolution. So how it's looked at, this pandemic, if one looked at it from the perspective of revelation in the Bible, we'd say, oh, this is interesting. All the signs are here for the second coming of Christ. Like, it could look like apocalyptic times. There's like when I was in Kenya in March, like there's these locusts that are eating 200 tons of food in the fields every day. Like it's a massive plague of locusts. We've had fires all around the earth. Australia, just a few months ago, like it was scary. In the Amazon, in Siberia. It's been a very unsettling time to see how out of control we've been on this earth as a result of our karmic actions, what we've put in, what we've been unconscious around. We've had so many floods and earthquakes, all of it, it's all going on. And then what is this pandemic? Is it real? Is it not real? For me, I see it like this is ultimately an act of God, the creator. Like, what greater thing could have got us to stop and be in absolute stillness, to bring us all over the earth to stop attempting to build outwardly for a moment, to come in and find ourselves, to just put our roots in deeper into the earth, to begin to reflect on how we've treated this earth, how we've treated our family, like all of those who've been locked up in the pandemic with their actual immediate family. That in itself is a huge grace, but not necessarily comfortable for a lot of people, because in it they get to see their karma. But so many people are having to work things out. People that would usually put two fingers up and say, fuck you, and be out of the door, haven't got somewhere to go. They have to work towards the law of harmlessness. It's harmlessness which activates our chakras to go clockwise, these gates within our body that help us evolve. It's that literal law of harmlessness. And most of us are finding that way to calm down in the solar plex and find some stillness, find that inner spaciousness, and to build the bridge of the relationship where we begin a strong, long, and continuous conversation with God, the creator, however you believe that to be, however you understand that to be, the magnificence, the goodness that exists of creation. Some people call Krishna, Babaji, White Eagle, the Christ, like all of those aspects of the divine coming through the central spiritual sun from that aspect of creation. And at the same time, we are being moved by the Great Mother in her great mystery of bringing us to our knees, terrified that we haven't got a clue. Now we're in this, how are we going to get out of this? Are we going to get out of this? And somehow within all of this, the most amazing thing is, I feel that we're going to get out of this situation when we've stopped being so unconscious as a race in that, like how we have mindless conversations and that mindless scrolling through your phones, our phones, all of us. When we clear the virus of selfishness and greed, separation and blame and being the victim, like this is essential. And that's what's concerning me in relationship to the way that the media is freaking people out. Like, it's not like is as in one thing. There's a lot going on that, if we're not careful, could activate a whole situation where everyone thinks, well, I'm not social distancing anymore. I don't believe this, it's bullshit. And that we, without a full understanding, we go out and we think, okay, it's definitely the 5G thing. Let's just find a way to pull down the masts or whatever. I'm not saying what is and what isn't, but I am saying that anything that's activating you into being angry and feeling like you're being controlled by some dark force is the dark force. Because right now, what the real opportunity is a deepening and a calming down of your nervous system so you can access the tree of life within you, that tree of life that has the knowing that you're safe. To find that place of healing inside of yourselves so that you can feel really good about knowing your divinity, your innocence, your purpose for being here on this earth, to become a peacekeeper on this earth, to walk the light of tranquility onto this earth, to be able to go to the sacred places on this earth and just be empty, and to make your life an offering to the Creator, to all humanity. The deeper that we go into this inner stillness, the more that we put our roots into the earth, the more that we find our alignment to the central spiritual sun, the more that we have the courage to journey through the grief and go into the vast chamber of our own hearts, the more nectar that we're going to find inside of ourselves, and these gifts that every single one of you have. There's nobody on this call or watching this ever that's not been imbued with a jewel right inside your heart that's given to you by the Creator, very specifically for you, that the more you stop caring what people think about you and know yourself and unravel all that negative conditioning that made you compare yourself, judge yourself, put yourself down, hate yourself, hate your aspects of yourself, the more that you can really like unravel that, let that dissolve, so that you can, through your stillness, feel this electric fire light running up through your spine, out through your hands, through your brow chakra, connecting with your solar angel that's been with you all of your lifetimes from the beginning of time, whispering, guiding you, bringing you to this point where you're thirsty to find union with the One. And once you find that union with the One, your purpose begins to reveal itself. And you know, the more authentic you are, the more you are you, the more you will get to experience this extraordinary uniqueness of your fulfillment in your offering, in your service, comes your release from karma to bring you into Dharma, to walk the light of the soul's way, to be able to radiate the light of the sun through your heart into your community, into your household, to bring tranquility into your household, or to become this acupuncture point. Even if you're in the squat, through your mantras, through your offering, through your trust in a divine plan that's unfolding through you, in your offering, can literally change the electromagnetic field of the earth around you. So I was thinking a lot about this 5G thing, and I've been graced in this lifetime to feel like electromagnetic frequency energies moving me into states of intense bliss for many, many years. And I say blessed, it's not like that comes from doing a lot of mantras and a lot of practices from many, many lives. But that we can always begin that right now, you know, like, and most of you have done them in previous lives. And when we listen carefully, inwardly, we can actually even hear the sound of the Om radiating through us. The Om is the sound of the original sound of creation. And just by making the sound of the Om, opens a gateway of consciousness, the Shri Yantra, in your etheric field, in your electromagnetic field, in your home, just by saying, oh. But each person having their own soul's note can change the frequency. There are many geometric tools and different, like, all sorts of yantras and things that you can use to up your vibration all the time. But it's our responsibility right now is to keep our vibration high. When we really begin this process deeply of soul infusion, what starts to happen is we access theta state brainwaves. Lots of you already know about that, and many of you have experienced it. When we experience that, it's like a melting of left brain, empty, spacious, free, where it feels like we're entering another dimension. And we're here. And those films like The Matrix and Avatar are very, very specific to us in this time. So is movies like Groundhog Day. If any of you haven't ever saw it, it's worth watching it, because Groundhog Day, for instance, shows how every day we have an opportunity, and I loved what George said at the beginning, to master the day, because eventually we become masterful. Like how not to have that argument with your mum or your brother or your sister or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever. Like how to not take the bait to go into a power struggle, how not to go into fear that you're being told that there's going to be a one world digital currency, etc., and it's doom. Like in reality, think about this. Think about 2,100 years ago, like at the very beginning of the age of Pisces, then came the Jesus, right? In that thread of that discussion. And then you go all the way through the age of Pisces and you get to now, and it's right at the end of it. When trains were first created, people were really scared of trains going at whatever miles an hour, and cars. They thought it might be a sin, or like maybe that was going to be the end of the world, that these big things were created. And now there's the fear of AI and cars that drive themselves. There was fear of electric cars, and yet they are actually going to really help us to not be raping the earth and taking her blood from the earth through the oil. What we're at the beginning of, and that's why this discussion was about, this isn't the end, this is the beginning of something magnificent that's unfolding. We're at the beginning of the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is a 2,100 year cycle, and the quality of the age of Aquarius, the incoming ray of this time is cosmic divine order and ceremonial white magic. And we've had a period of utter chaos where everything's gone out of control on one way of looking. But in reality, to me, it's like we're in this situation of like, we're like the caterpillars that have gone consume, 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 eat, munch, munch, take, 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 take. Now we're in the cocoon, and everything of our old world is being disintegrated. The carpet was pulled underneath our feet. It's all being taken, like broken away, as a purification process is being unveiled on the earth, cleared from all of 2,000 years of misuse of sexual energy. We're coming into what's called collectively the first stage of initiation, first stage of wake up, where there becomes this alignment between the throat chakra to the sacral center. The throat chakra, which is holding all of those negative judgmental thoughts, all of that comparison, putting down, sarcasm, bitching, blaming. That energy turns the throat chakra, instead of going clockwise, which would then draw up the energy from the sacral center, it presses down on it, creating all sorts of miasms and misuse of sexual energy. And what has just been being purged in the news for the last 2 to 3 years, like intensely, the fact that Prince Andrew has been exposed, what's his name, Yogi Bhajan, Sogyal Rinpoche, loads of people that have been spiritual leaders and masters exposed for misusing their sexual energy in a really big way. But that's been going on for 2,000 years, and particularly in the Catholic Church. Raping of children, raping of the boys. Like, it's really strong. And all of that, as this normity of light is coming in, ushering us into this new time, helping us to wake up, it's like a healing crisis in humanity. Like a massive purge in humanity of what's happening right now to assist us, but it's having to clear out of the land, out of everything, out of our throats, out of our chests, and we've got to look at what are we holding in our bloodline of the virus within ourselves, in terms of our place of separation, hatred, blame, distrust. And so I see this virus as the gift to help polish the facets of our wake-up process, to bring us deeper in, to deepen our conversation with the Creator, to really help us to find that still point that we can lift the bloodlines of what we've come through. And the biggest thing within this is that we have to be harmless with ourselves, to be able to see, like, okay, I've got these traits and they're not pleasant, and I'm going to work with them, but it's strong because it's like you've got this whole ocean of energy behind you that you know, it's come down through your grandfather, your great grandfather, your mom, you know, it's all there, and you've got to lift it through yourself, which is why singing sacred songs, doing mantras, and being in voluntary service where you're not expecting something back can really help us to clear and purify and align and unravel the karma. So this first stage, this basically, how we look at it esoterically is that this very coronavirus is actually showing that we as a species are coming together in this next level of wake up. That's amazing. Like, we are all having to come together to work together as nations to find a cure for this or a situation. That doesn't mean I'm saying go out and have vaccines, but for some people it might be the right way. Some people it's definitely not. If you've got a good, strong, clear immune system, I don't really see that you need to. Like, I wouldn't have a vaccine for the flu, for instance. But I did get thrown by the flu when I moved into this house 2 years ago. I was shocked. It took me nearly 6 to 8 weeks to recover. I was thrown. I hadn't had the flu for 22 years. So something's going on. It's quite easy for our immune systems to be weakened if we're not vigilant. But what the biggest thing that's going to strengthen you, your immune system, is in your conscious alignment with the Creator, to start to feel and experience that enormity of light that sits within your being. Do you know, like, I don't know if you've heard of Kirlian photography. It was created by a Russian scientist, I think in the 30s and 40s. And I did a study on his work and his photographs and everything. And he showed that in the thumbprint of a man or a woman, even if they're not a healer, has so much light that's coming out, but it's coming out literally in the phi ratio, which this is like, the phi ratio is like the golden mean spiral that's built into our DNA itself. It's also in the Great Pyramid of Giza, or any actual pyramid, but it's also in all the sunflowers, the margarita flowers, and the pine cones, the pineapples. It's basically the union of spirit and matter. And that's really what I'm talking about today. We're in an evolutionary, massive wake-up process, and it's very specific. It's to do with, at the base of our spine sits a coiled serpent of energy, are all of this massive atomic potential that we've all got, but it can't be unleashed, this sleeping serpent within us, unless we're ripe and we have lived by the law of harmlessness, and that sleeping serpent is ready to be activated and unleashed in our body. And that first stage of it is when the currents of energy are activating the throat chakra and the sacral, and the sleeping serpent splits into two serpents, the Ida, the Pingala, and then crosses, like you've seen the caduceus, over each chakra point in your body, until it gets to the brow chakra. And this is a very specific 3 stages of wake up that we have to go through in humanity. So many of you have already gone through the first stage. Some of you have gone through the second stage. To get to the third stage means to be able to be consistently present in the moment, in the eternal now, with the brow chakra open, being able to witness the good, the true, the beautiful, not imbuing the earth with doom and gloom and negativity. So in this last period where we've seen this massive purging of all this misuse of sexual energy, obviously that means that the sexual energy, instead of it coming up to the throat in vitality, inspiration, enormous creativity, was going anti-clockwise down, seeking satisfaction, and would do whatever it wants to do to take what isn't theirs to take. The energy of raping, it's the opposite of life. It's literally like live, L-I-V-E, opposite E-V-I-L, going opposite direction. But this has been written about in this time, that this would be the time of this massive wake up. And we came as forefront of this time to come together collectively as a group, to be able to work telepathically as a group, to connect on the inner planes as a group, to be able to see the power of that as a group, not in our personality, with no leader on the outer. Like, for instance, I just want to say, by the way, like, I am not presenting myself as a guru or your spiritual leader. I see myself as a student of solar philosophy and esoteric psychology, and a sister and a grandmother. I'm not out there thinking, follow me, because what I see that is essential at this time is that the wake up is for us to go within, access the tree of life, and make our own direct connection with the one. And that way, when we do this work in turn, like telepathically, what we're going towards in this next 2000 years is to become a fully, highly developed telepathic race. That's like massive. To become telepathic means we have to have gone through this purification to have got to the point where we are comfortable to be fully transparent. Transparent and translucent. So that we can come to this place of union with each other. So that's the cycle that we're in. As we clear all of that crap of the split mind, of the where we've been conditioned to distrust. How interesting that at this very moment, where there's this massive veil, this Maya, this madness, where none of us know the truth. I can't say I know the full truth. One day I can look at this thing and think, God, that seems right. Like, wow. And then the other day I'm like, no. Like, a good example of it was yesterday. I was talking to my mum and she said to me, look, if Boris Johnson and the British government were fully in this thing where that they've all purposely locked everyone up in their homes whilst they put up the 5G masts and change the control structure with the monies, why would they be then offering, like making an offering for all of the, what do you call them, the NHS and key workers who have died giving their lives in their service to humanity, with all the viral loading that they had and that they died? That yesterday apparently on the news that each one's family would get £60,000. And then, you know, we look at it, and I look at it being here in this country, like how much money is being given to businesses and all the rest of it. It just, on one level, absolutely would not make sense. But whichever way, whatever the truth is, the thing that's really important is that we all listen to our own bodies and develop this place beyond duality, beyond the split mind, that non-dual place. In the language that I come through is called Mahamudra. It's the greatest of union. And in that is an untouchable peace, which helps to become the peacekeepers of the earth. That's what we have to get to inside of ourselves if we want to be effective in this, is that place of inner spaciousness that you can't be shaken to fall into a battle with an outer authority. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. that's really a big part of what I wanted to say today. Don't fall into the battle. Like, then if there is a dark lodge, which there is, it's going to get you because it's separated you. Don't split in your mind. Like, what we're being shown on the bigger picture within the great mystery of the Divine Mother, as she helps us to become so much more in her trust, her current, her flow, is to be able to not need to know with the left brain what tomorrow's going to bring, so that we can be present in the now, so that some beauty can come that's from the Creator outside of our own planning it all, working it all out, where there's no room for the flow and the synchronicity and the beauty that we couldn't have even conceived of in the first place. I mean, I'm positive that so many of you, I'm just moving my thing to see some more of you. So many of you must have found that, excuse me, during this moment, during this time of the great pause, where the earth had the stillness to breathe again, that the mists cleared and the pollution cleared from around the Himalayan mountains, and the dolphins and all the animals could be more free, and we could feel and taste a quality of stillness vibrationally in the skies that we haven't had since we were children. And actually, it's even from beyond this life. That in this moment, as we just settle into this stillness, we must have, I'm sure that you all found that you've become profoundly more creative and inspired. Like, something so magnificently new is being born through all of us. I see this pause as such a blessing. And then also the funny thing is, so for so many years I studied astrology, I definitely do my best not to even really think about it too much these days, but I can't help but notice Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn represents restriction, Aquarius represents the group. And Saturn could also, like, not just restriction, but like holding things tight, structure. But I was thinking about, like, I have Saturn in Aquarius in my own chart. I'm in my second Saturn return. And I was suddenly realizing, do you know what? The blessing of this is we are not engaging in bullshit chit chat. Like, nobody seems to have time for that now so much. We don't have to choose to have, we don't have to have those conversations that become wasteful anymore, that are just talking for the sake of talking. Like, we're going to get much more specific with our time, because we're going to become to enjoy the vibration of stillness and the aloneness that we need to really develop a rich, exquisite, beautiful relationship with the Creator. Does anybody have any questions with this, what I'm saying? And by the way, before, I just want to say that I have an online 2-day retreat on the 6th and 7th of May. The only reason I'm telling you this, not as an advert for it, but is because I'm doing this online retreat on the what's called the Wesak Festival. The Wesak Festival is when the Buddha and the Christ, or the same being but in two different offices of the one, transmit from Shambhala through Mount Kailash on the full moon in May every year, a download transmission to activate every person who's on the path to give them their spiritual download for the coming year. So when I was much, much younger, like really young, I used to always have this dream in May. I didn't know what it meant, but I would be dreaming that I was flying through these lanes that I recognized going to this mountain. And then as I got older, I one day read that it's quite normal, like Tibetans, they would always try their best to do a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash before they die, to make their circumambulation around this holy mountain, because it's so like such a big transmission. And then when I read this thing and I watched this video, I was like, oh my God, I've been having this dream. It was going there, always in May. And I would like to basically hold space for anybody who would like to study with me and journey inwardly, shamanically, on a really deep level for 2 days. And what I've been giving as just a brief overview to be able to go into it in a lot more depth. If you're interested, just go on my website. And you know, it's like not expensive. You can do it at £10 a month or something. It's like very doable. But before we have the questions, I wonder, Ben, if you could give me an indication maybe in the chat to let me know if I've got time to do just a little shamanic alignment where we unify in ourselves and collectively all the people that are on this call, that we could just do that for a moment. Do we have time? Yeah? Okay, amazing. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to have a sip of water. Please get comfortable to sit up really like spine straight so that you can really feel the energy. Okay. So just before we do this, I want to speak with gentle tenderness to the places of where individually and collectively we've been in feeling this stress and anxiety and anxiousness around this not knowing. And just to take a really deep breath, deep through the nose to clear the mind, breathing in the light of spirit, breathing in your spirit, solar guide and protector that's walked with you from the beginning of time. Just really feel that connection as you breathe in, holding that breath for as long as you can, and then releasing that breath out through the mouth. And inviting you to put your awareness 4 inches below the base of your spine, where your spine meets your seat. Just to really rest yourself on that vortex there of your base chakra. And just to call in a blessing to ask for protection and safety. Invoking the light of harmony. Our connection to the crystal core of the heartbeat of our mother. To invite her Shakti Kundalini to vitalize and heal. Breathing that energy up through the spine, Taking a moment to rest our awareness in our sacral chakra. Feeling that clockwise spiral. And invoking cosmic divine order, ceremonial white magic within. Feeling that activation, that delicious capacity to feel sensual and sensitive, our connection with all of the ethers. With the plant kingdom. Taking another deep breath from the center of the earth up through the spine as we bring our awareness to our solar plex. And just to breathe out all the tension and scan yourself within to find that vortex of the place of your seat of power. Invoking the light of your soul to guide you into the right activity within the divine plan. And trusting the light, the love, and the wisdom of all that you are to assist you in your discernment, discrimination to where to put your energy. Invoking the light of trusting in yourself. In your relationship with the Creator, Great Spirit. Asking for assistance for this muscle within to develop the ability to not be in blame. And as we breathe up deeper into the heart chakra, resting ourselves to look through the gateways of this vast chamber. Breathing deeper into the hearts to find rest. Rest in natural great peace, this exhausted mind. Breathing deeper into our heart, calling for the light, the love, the wisdom, and the compassion to be able to put ourselves into another person's shoes to understand their wound and to stop taking it personally. And breathing deep again, bringing that energy up through the spine to our throat chakra. Great Spirit, help us to still our mind, to stop judging. Still our mind to stop comparing. to help us to clear that rampant program that consistently put ourselves down. Please help us to turn the wheel clockwise so that we can understand how to speak our truth and to not be in that reaction. Please inspire us with creative, active intelligence. Inspire us to show us the way that we can serve in our highest expression. And taking our awareness to look through the brow, center of the forehead, help us to crystallize our vision, to be in union with your vision. Please seed us with great dreams, that we can plant these seeds for a new time, that we can envisage the best, that we can bring through the new way, that we can repair the breach of what has been. Please help us to walk the beauty way, that we may witness the good, the true, and the beautiful. Help us to be liberated out of the matrix of doom and gloom and projecting negativity. Help us to be in union with you, Creator Spirit, that we can feel confident of your fusion with our inspiration. And taking our awareness to our crown chakra and that few inches above the crown, feeling that downpouring of electric fire, the light of your soul, animating, vivifying, activating, purifying. Great Spirit, Father Sky, Father Sun, we humbly offer all that we are, all that we've ever been, and all that we ever will be in this moment of the eternal now, activated as peacekeepers on this earth. Please help us to unify as a family of light, as a tribe of light around this earth. Please show us how to open the gates within our being, this temple of this body. Thank you so much for this life, for this opportunity to be pioneers at this time, to walk on that front cutting edge of holding this light of peace within us in our trust of you. Help us to look out for our brothers and our sisters that are slipping down that slope. Please help us to trust in our healing capacity as we get out of the way for your presence to pour through. Please help us to be hollow, like a flute, that we may dance in the Tao of your beauty. Aho Matakuyasin, for all our relations, we are related. Ben, it would be beautiful if you could offer that song just whilst we stay in this space, if that's at all possible, brother.
Okay. Yeah. The bank of the river, flowing to the ocean, gaze into her eyes, on the widest shore I will find what I've been longing for all along. I knew this was coming, been feeling hard, been feeling my heart open into the light, been feeling my heart opening to the light. Letting go the bank of the river, flowing to the ocean, gaze into her eyes, and on the wider shore I will find what I've been longing for all along. We knew this was coming, been feeling our hearts opening like flowers, been feeling our hearts opening to the light, been feeling our heart opening to the light.
Aho, brother.
Thank you, brother. That was beautiful.
Thanks.
So What do you feel, Ben? Where shall we go from here?
I think it would be great to see if anyone would like to say anything, add anything,
Yeah.
ask any questions to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Share anything, say hi.
Okay, well, and I'm just reading one of the things, which I'm not going to say the person's name, but I'd like to just read this. Completely new to this. Always feel a deep sense of sorrow, anxiety, something missing, not content. Don't know myself, complete mess feeling. Can you help? Where to start? No meditation, nothing worked yet. Could not feel anything, always judging myself. Yeah, so I'm really feeling that. And that is like, so what I would say would be a good starting point. If you want to make an appointment with me, I will offer you like a free session with me so that I can have a chat, understand a little bit about what you've come through in this life, and look at something that would be exactly right for you, because everybody has different ways of connecting with spirit. Some people through gardening, some people through swimming, some people through walking, some people can sit still and find that access within. But it's you know, it's like a whole thing. So let's look at what would be the best way for you and to understand what you've come through. Some of you've come through like being beaten as a child. Some of you've come through abuse. Like we've all got very different things. Some people have come through absolute like mother, loving father, and a lot of union, and that makes life a lot easier. So if you would like, will you just send me a message with your number and your email, and I can contact you and organize something and we can go through it. But like, that's what's beautiful about Wider Horizons, is there's a whole group of people that are here to hold young people who are feeling lost. That's what this is all about. Wouldn't you say so, Ben?
Well, it's that, yeah. It's not only that, but it definitely does that too, for sure.
You sound like you've got a really good reverb on there. And I'm just looking at another message on here from Lindsay. Thank you, Rita and Ben, for this evening. I support young offenders and ex-offenders and those being released from prison into another enforced isolation of lockdown. And they've had high levels of anxiety during this time. Holding space for them and our team's been essential, but our own team's well-being has been paramount as well. You brought in meditation for the team, the young men that we support and our volunteers, and it's just had such a beautiful impact on them. What else would you suggest? Okay. I really appreciate this, because the other day, for the first time, I watched that thing of like all the people who are in prison, like in America, just seeing what they'd gone through. Has anyone else seen that step into the circle? And I cried. It was so powerful. You know, I've got 3 black sons, and it's just so, what's the word, like close, like it could have been anybody. And so I feel like, you know, I would like to send you, let me just check your name, Lindsay, if you could find my website and email me. I'm really up for offering some support here, like some of them to even come onto the online retreat, and also for the people supporting the team, because it's just such a holding to come down and in and meet yourself. Because like that's the starting point to forgive. Self-forgiveness for anyone who's found their way into that place of being locked up. The starting point is a big lot of self-forgiveness and forgiveness all around. And when it's all clear, we can like whatever is happening to us on the outside is what's going on the inside. So it's like clearing that inner imprisonment. I'd like to work with them on that. It would be an honor and a privilege to offer some energy and some time to support that. And I've got other people that would love to as well. And I've just noticed there's 13 new messages in here. Shall I just read them whilst, I think I'm going to read these whilst we invite some of you to share possibly how you've experienced what I've been saying. If you don't agree, if you feel like it's uplifting, whatever you want to say, we're open to hear it. I won't take anything personally. Please.
Or to ask questions, of course, as well.
And to ask questions, yeah.
Was someone wanting to speak, to ask? Anyone?
Hello?
Hello. Who is that, please?
Hello?
Who is that? Rishi.
Hey, Rishi.
Hey. Yeah, everything that you said was just spot on with the current situation at the moment. And yeah, the meditation was beautiful. The music was beautiful. Really staying aligned. At the moment with the changes that are occurring, a lot of inner deep work and really staying centered and noticing where going into the thoughts and coming back into the heart. And really learning to stay centered in that heart space and connected and allowing the energy to flow. And what you were saying about the throat was just so beautiful. I experienced it in the meditation. I didn't realize what was happening with my throat. And then when I tuned in, it was spinning the wrong way.
Okay.
And it was open, but by then letting it spin clockwise and allowing the energy to flow.
Amazing.
This feels so much lighter.
That's so good. So that's so good. Like I would say for you, Rishi, and for anybody else, like before you go to sleep, connect in with your central channel that lies along the spine and start to be intimate with your chakras. Feel them because they are vortexes that carry so much information. And once you really start to explore them, it's mind-blowing. Then you start to open the gates within yourself and start to experience this enormity of like inner light, inner electric fire. It's very, very beautiful. And you're obviously very sensitive. So I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where do you live?
I'm in Leicester.
Okay, amazing. I love that people are from all over. I used to do my knitwear in Leicester in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
It's all the knitwear factories have closed down now.
It's beautiful energy around here as well, especially out in the countryside. The energy of the planet is just so beautiful. And what you said about the electromagnetic sensitivities, I'm very sensitive to that. So when I drive out to the countryside, there's a spot on the motorway that when I go past the motorway, I feel the density lift as I'm going higher up and more into the countryside and away from all the energies of the city.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rita, is Alexandria? Can I ask something?
Absolutely. I'm just looking at your face.
Thank you so much for everything. That was just so spot on and just so in rhythm with what I'm feeling. So thank you. It's really beautiful prayers and meditation and everything. I've just been feeling a huge energetic shift, and sometimes it feels overwhelming, but most of the time it's feeling really good and really sacred and right. But what I'm personally struggling with is the more my vibration is beginning to rise, I feel like the thing that kind of pulls me back into my body and into lower states is my lack of self-love and kind of comparing myself. And I know you spoke about this earlier, for which I was really grateful for, but I wondered if you have any other practices you could share that I could kind of implement into daily, because I know it's not just me that's struggling with it, but I get frustrated that it kind of pulls me back into my body out of the kind of amazing stuff, and I don't want it to stop me from...
What about, darling, if you were to start a journal specifically for this subject, for this aspect, and it's your conversation with the little girl that was damaged in school, that didn't feel beautiful and didn't want to be pulled into the whole crazy media hype of having to be a particular way, because I remember you at that period.